first thing you want to do is when you receive the amplifier, you'll take it out of its carton and place it onto a sturdy desktop or somewhere that can support the weight of your amplifier. And when you do that, always, instead of grabbing it by the foam pieces, grab the unit by the front and back and lift the unit up out of the box and set it down on here. Also, these foam inserts helps protect the amplifier, so you would then remove these side pieces, just lift up on the amp, and those will slide right off the side of your amplifier. And then you will slide the cover off of your amp, the plastic bag. Upon doing that, be careful not to let it slip off the end of the table or anything. Make sure you have a good grasp onto the amplifier. After you have removed the plastic bag, then you want to do a visual inspection of the amplifier, primarily like the corners of the amp. Make sure the cover hasn't gotten dinged up on the corners. Make sure it all looks good. Rotate the amplifier around and inspect the front and the back of the amplifier. Also, if you do notice any damage to the cover, like in the corners or anything, that would be a result of shipping damage. The carrier of the package probably mishandled it or dropped it on the corners or something. And if you do notice something, also just inspect your packing that the amplifier came in. Most of our amplifiers are double box, so you have an inner box and an outer box. Except for our larger amps, they're in a single box. And when you receive the amplifier, to inspect the packing, you'll notice your box. If it comes in like this, the foam inserts in the box. The box will push in and damage the amplifier, but with the foam inserts and the thickness of our packing material, is made to bounce back into shape. So it just doesn't stay there and keeps pressure against the product. So you just inspect your box. Make sure the corners, if they have soft spots like this where it shows like maybe a crease right here in the corners, this is evidence of shipping damage of the container. That's where it could have gotten dropped on the side or on the corner. Also notice if you have any puncture holes where it may have went through inside. Anything like this, you definitely want to report to the shipping person that delivered your product, and also contact your dealer that you purchased the product from so that all the necessary actions can be taken. Okay, so after you verify the amplifier is free of defects as far as shipping goes, you want to take all the screws out of your amplifier, because all the amplifiers of the tube type equipment, they are shipped with wrapping and packing material inside your amplifier. So you want to be sure that you remove all the packing material from inside. Also, some of the amplifiers are shipped with the tubes already installed. So upon removing the cover, you will then unpackage your tubes, pull the foam out, just peel off the existing material, remove your tubes. Notice your tubes are packed down inside here. And also be careful when you remove the packing material. There's also been the fuse pack has been placed inside the amplifier. This fuse pack has extra screws in case you drop one on the removal of the cover. Also, it has your fuses and fuse caps so that you can plug it into the back of the amplifier. So don't get this included in your discarding of the packing material. So we proceed on unpacking the amplifier, and then after you have done that, we will go through the process of realigning the tubes. Okay, now that you have all the packing removed and everything in the amp is cleaned out, sometimes these tubes, when they're shipped inside the amplifier, they might come up out of their socket. So instead of just kind of pushing them down, it's always best to make sure that they're still lined up properly, because sometimes the sockets, the tube will come completely out of their socket. On the bottom of the tube you have two large pins, and 2 small pins. And if you look at your socket, you also notice you have 2 big holes in the socket and 2 small holes. So just visually line the hose up according to the size of the pins of the tube, and just slightly just push them down inside there, and then reconnect your cap by just pushing it down on top. And just check all 4 tubes, make sure they're all seated in there properly. After you have done that, you will now proceed on placing the cover back onto the unit and putting all the screws into the amplifier.